Let's try this. So there we go. This is a few latest happenings in Bitcoin and just kind of like a zoom out on it. And so we got the public companies, Block, $43 billion. They announced over the weekend or last week, whenever it was, that they're going to be DCAing into Bitcoin. So they're going to be taking 10% of their monthly gross profits and putting it into Bitcoin. And you hear 10%, which is a pretty big number, honestly, for a public company to be buying Bitcoin with. But then you look at the gross part of that. So if you think about it, let's say the Block makes a shitload of money, by the way. They're worth 43 billion. They're worth more than MicroStrategy. But so the 10% of their gross profits every month, let's say they make $1 million a month. And I mean, 10%, you'd think if somebody's buying Bitcoin at a set rate like that, you'd think that they would probably buy the net after they factor in taxes, after they pay all their costs, after they, but so net, if they took 10% of net, that amount would be much smaller than it would be. But with gross, 10% of their gross profits is going into Bitcoin every month for a $43 billion company. That's a pretty big deal. And every single month they're going to be buying Bitcoin, DCAing into Bitcoin, buying more Bitcoin. So you got Block there, you got MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor did a full presentation to the corporate world last week on why they should be holding Bitcoin. He bought Bitcoin last week. He introduced the new Bitcoin email addresses. Arnie's having a good time. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but he's squeaking. The Bitcoin verifiable email addresses. That's what Michael Saylor introduced last week. So MicroStrategy is buying Bitcoin. They're holding Bitcoin. They're telling other people to buy Bitcoin. And they're coming out with new products and services that complement their business that involve Bitcoin. And then you have the ETF issuers, BlackRock, Fidelity, and then the Hong Kong ETF as well. Private companies buying Bitcoin, Tether. Or is this the amount of Bitcoin that they have? No, that can't be right. Anyways, doesn't matter. Either way. Tether, $50 billion. I don't think that that's in Bitcoin. I think that I saw that they're holding $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. But then you have nation states, El Salvador, and more to come. And if you look at the adoption happening in Costa Rica right now, which is the next thing we're going to touch on here, but they're all buying millions to billions worth of Bitcoin every month. And it says, are you paying attention? So that's why I wanted to start the show with that quote. I'll say it simply. Everyone without Bitcoin is utterly fucked. And it's the truth. People, for the most part, this is your average person. They hear things on the news. Even though they don't fully trust the news, they hear things kind of just by accident almost. Even if people don't watch the news, they see these different headlines, they hear about things, and they hear all about how bad Bitcoin is and how, it's just this fake Ponzi scheme bullshit without spending 1 second actually looking into it. But then that's the average person. So they're either fearful of it, they don't understand it, they don't have the time to learn about it. And so they're going to continue ignoring Bitcoin and continue holding whatever assets they have right now, ignoring Bitcoin, while all of this is happening behind the scenes. And if they just looked at it, this isn't like hidden anywhere. This is right out in the open. People just don't take the time to look at this kind of stuff. But it just seems to me like we're in this very small window right now where all this is happening. We're running out of Bitcoin. The miners are short Bitcoin right now because of the halving last week. And I just think that any day now, we're going to see a massive spike in Bitcoin. So that's that. There's also, I saw a couple other things here that I thought was worth